Hello, good evening. French citizens living in the Midlands tonight joined their countrymen across the Channel in a silent vigil to remember the victims of the terrorist shootings in Paris. 12 people were killed in the attack by Islamist gunmen in the French capital yesterday. 10 of the victims worked for the satirical magazine Charlie Hebdo, and today one of Britain's best-known cartoonists told us he's appalled by what's happened. Andy Bevan reports.
At midday today in Paris, they stood in silence as the bells of Notre Dame Cathedral tolled for those who died. 24 hours earlier, the city's streets were filled with the sound of gunfire as Islamist terrorists stormed the offices of satirical magazine Charlie Hebdo, angry at its portrayal of the Prophet Muhammad. The magazine's editor, 3 cartoonists and 7 others were shot dead. As they left, the gunmen killed a French policeman in cold blood as he lay injured on the ground. Today's midday tribute in Paris was simultaneously mirrored here in Britain, with officers from the Met standing in silence outside Scotland Yard and dozens gathering at the headquarters of Greater Manchester Police. Tonight, the Midlands paid its respects to the victims. French citizens living here joined locals for a vigil in Birmingham city centre.
Well, it's great because lots of people are coming and lots of people are showing their support to the people that lost their lives, and lots of people aren't French but they are here to support us and support our country.
We're all here together, and that means a lot.
I think it's a very good idea. It shows that it touches all of us. It's not just Paris, it's not just Charlie Hebdo, it's every one of us.
The vigil has been welcomed by the Assistant Secretary General of the Muslim Council of Britain, also an imam and Islamic scholar based in Leicester. He says yesterday's massacre was watched with revulsion by ordinary Muslims across the world.
Islam does not allow us to behave in this manner. Islam does not allow us to take the law into our own hands, and the Messenger Muhammad, peace be on him, himself did not respond to people who mocked him and ridiculed him through violence, but rather through dialogue and through promoting peaceful coexistence and respect for all.
Cartoonist Bill Tidy has been drawing professionally for almost 60 years. The 81-year-old, best known for his comic strips The Fosdyke Saga and The Cloggies, had a studio in Walsall while drawing in the 1980s for Private Eye, the British equivalent of Charlie Hebdo. He still lives in the Midlands and says although he's not a political cartoonist, those who choose that path can face danger.
The dividing line, the right to say what you like and draw what you like, is invisible, and you only know you've overstepped it, not through your own fault, when something awful like this happens.
The 2 men thought to have carried out the killings are brothers Sharif and Saeed Kouachi. Tonight's vigil in Birmingham coincided with the switching off of the lights on the Eiffel Tower in memory of those who died. Andy Bevan, ITV News.
In other news, a woman from Coventry who was stabbed and had her head stamped on by her boyfriend says hypnosis helped in the court case which led to him being convicted. Zoe Dronfield's injuries meant she couldn't remember the full details of the attack, but says the treatment gave her the confidence to face her attacker in court. Mark Goff's report shows pictures of her injuries.
Zoe Dronfield is putting her life back together. This was her last February, after she'd been attacked by her boyfriend, Jason Smith. While she was asleep, he stabbed her in the neck, kicked her, and stamped on her head. He's now been found guilty of grievous bodily harm with intent. Zoe had difficulty remembering all the details of the attack, so she went to hypnosis.
I didn't have any clarity around, what I was saying. I was confused. It was confused and muddled, and it was very grey. And I was like, did that happen? Didn't that happen? But it gave me clarity. It made things more crystal. Yes, I remember that. Yeah, that definitely happened. And it kind of, I could say with clarity that those incidents happened, or that actually happened.
The couple met online through mutual friends, and the relationship started well. But it was when it hit a difficult period, and Zoe asked Jason to leave her house, that he attacked her. He denied it when he was charged, so Zoe had to give evidence at a trial. She says the hypnosis gave her the confidence to do that.
The hypnotherapy side of things wasn't just about getting the information back, but it was a lot of it was around the confidence, because obviously I'd been knocked down to the floor, basically. I was a shell of my former self. Without having the hypnosis and the therapy that followed on from the attack, I think I still would have been sat catatonic in the same state that I was before. I was literally at a standstill, at a complete standstill. I couldn't see anything further than, you know, the next minute, the next moment.
Jason Smith will be sentenced next month. Zoe, who lives with her 2 young children in Coventry, says her life is getting back to normal and getting better. Mark Goff, ITV News.
Well, earlier I spoke to Zoe's hypnotherapist, David Kilmurray, and he explained how she was able to retrieve more details about what happened under hypnosis.
Well, they are memories, and if they're necessary, which they are obviously for this court case, which was looming, then it's down to the client and down to the patient that they need to feel the confidence that they're going to be able to retrieve it. And in a trance state, in a relaxed state, it's much more accessible. It's much more able to cope with. And obviously, you're not going to go into panic if you're in trance state.
Families of victims of a paedophile doctor who worked in Birmingham have called for the Health Secretary to launch a full inquiry into his abuse. Miles Bradbury was jailed for 22 years in December after admitting sexually abusing 18 boys in his care at a hospital in Cambridge. After his trial, it emerged he'd previously worked in Birmingham for 4 years. The Children's Hospital set up a helpline and received more than 50 calls from concerned parents. The body of a woman found on the site of a primary school in Shrewsbury has been formally identified. 23-year-old Charlotte Christo-Delou was from Walsall and was found at Halscourt Junior School shortly before midnight on Sunday. 2 men and a woman who were originally arrested on suspicion of murder have instead been rearrested on suspicion of obstructing the coroner. All 3 have been released on bail pending further police inquiries. Hospitals in Staffordshire have downgraded their major incident status. The measure allows extra staff to be called in and routine operations cancelled to cope with patient numbers. The accident and emergency departments at the Royal Stoke and County hospitals have been under pressure since Monday. People with minor injuries are still being asked, though, to stay away from A&E and to use instead walk-in centres or their GP. More than 200 people attended a meeting last night to discuss the Library of Birmingham's future. It's after the council announced plans to make half the staff redundant and reduce opening hours. Those at the meeting pledged to support the library staff. The council says no decisions have been made, but current funding can't continue. The Deputy Prime Minister Nick Clegg has been in the Midlands signing a new regional growth deal for Birmingham and Solihull. He says it'll be worth more than £300 million to the area, helping companies like this one, Hydroforce, which will be building a new factory with a grant from the fund. Now, Leicester City Council's former headquarters will be demolished next month using what's known as a controlled collapse. The crumbling tower blocks on New Walk will be brought down in a matter of seconds on the 22nd of February. Homes and businesses in the exclusion zone will be evacuated and residents will be able to watch the explosion on a big screen, but it seems locals won't miss the building.
We've been here at the heart of King Street for 11 years now. I've got no concerns. In fact, I'm really excited to see that ugly building blown up. I'd just like to be here on the day to press the button, actually. Goodbye.
It is an eyesore. It's a horrendous building. It's just a shame that it's only lasted 40 years or so. I mean, it's a sign of poor planning.
I've been here 14 years running my business, and I'll be glad when the faulty towers go. And looking forward to a new development, whatever's going to come there.
Don't hold back. Tell us what you really think. Now, Leicester's Richard III Visitor Centre has been named one of the best new tourist attractions in the world. The £4 million centre, which opened last year, features in a list by Lonely Planet of the 26 best new experiences. The Travel Guide's editor praised the centre for helping to promote Leicester. Now, as we approach Friday and the weekend, it's going to get a little bit wild out there. Let's get the full forecast with the details tonight for us. Here's Janelle.
What's in store for today? ITV Local Weather, sponsored by Centre Parks.
Hello, unsettled weather for the next few days, unsettled tonight, but we are expecting it to be mainly cool and also windy. We could see the odd patch of spot or rain for some of us, but it is a mainly dry night. We're looking at lows of 3 Celsius and the wind is also going to be fairly breezy. As we go into tomorrow morning, it's a mild and a bright start to the day. Still staying breezy though, but by the time we get into Friday afternoon, do expect to see some patchy rain. It will stay breezy, but very mild highs of around 13 Celsius, perhaps even touching 14 for some. But tonight, temperatures falling away, lows of 3.
ITV Local Weather, sponsored by Centre Parks.
That is about all we have time for this evening. Just time to remind you that, as ever, if you want more content from us, there is plenty on our website. The details on the screen. itv.com/central is the address. We're back bright and early tomorrow. Until then, from the team, goodbye and good night.